Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody, for another movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's with me tonight? That's all I got.
I am Peter. I've got a good feeling about this Bingham-Pankratz, author of The Fifth Civilization.
Well, what have we here? It's Kerry, Carusetta on Twitch and YouTube.
And welcome, and we are here for another Star Wars movie, one that I actually couldn't wait to talk about. One of my favorites.
Yeah, you've been singing their praises for years now.
Still am, thank God. Still. I watched it twice in 24 hours. How many people can say they watched the movie twice in 24 hours and then recorded a podcast about it? You know, I bet not that many.
Not many. Judging by the box office returns, I don't think many people saw it twice in theaters.
No, I actually didn't see this in theaters, unfortunately. I missed it because my wife wouldn't go see it with me. But we're here to talk about Solo, a Star Wars story. Came out in 2018 and broke Disney, essentially. Directed by Ron Howard. Broke Disney with Star Wars.
Yeah, I'd say.
Where I really believe they learned the wrong lesson from this movie.
Yeah.
Where we can't recast we can't recast an actor. No, we'll just CGI him instead. Yeah, that makes money.
Yeah.
I think they learned a number of wrong lessons from this.
Mm-hmm.
I make a joke about the box office. It was only a box office, failure compared to the other Star Wars movies. I don't know what they were expecting, but it made hundreds of millions of dollars.
It made $393 million, but it cost between $275 and $300 million. So it didn't make that.
That's probably not counting marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also, it had the misfortune of coming out a few months after The Last Jedi, which I know there are a lot of people that love The Last Jedi precisely because it's not a good Star Wars movie. And that's cool. I get that. That's the only thing I like about it. But I think that the overall general consensus was that The Last Jedi was bad. And then 3 months later, we got this. And I think that a lot of people stayed home. They're like, oh, I'll wait for streaming on this one.
Yeah, I don't know why what the feeling was not released it in December, like all the other Star Wars movies had done.
Well, because it's a mid-story, right? Because this was 2018. Okay, so it's still a year and a half, because we don't get the Rise of Skywalker until December 2019.
Yeah, but Rogue One came out in December of 2016.
Oh, okay. Well,
this is the only one that came out.
And that's a great movie, so.
Yeah, I think that might have something to do with it. Like you said, it was right after Last Jedi. It was also right after another Star Wars movie. And it feels weird now. We're in an age where, there's a superhero movie every month.
Well, what other Star Wars movie?
Yeah. Oh, it came out.
Yeah,
no, it came out.
My point is that, people might have been tired with Star Wars, I guess, is what. A little fatigued.
So. Wasn't there also a bunch of drama beforehand about the main actor that plays Solo, Alden Ehrenreich, too?
Alden Ehrenreich
or something.
There was drama with the directors. They hired Lord and Miller, who did what did it? The Lego movie, right?
Lego movie, not to mention the Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse.
Right. Yeah.
Lord. Right. They hired them, and then they were like, oh, we don't like this, and they fired them and brought in Ron Howard. Right. And Ron Howard is a very competent director, but I feel like all of his movies look the same and kind of feel the same to an extent too.
Yeah, I can see that criticism, at least in the modern Ron Howard era.
Yes.
He's kind of brought into competent movies that are successful. He's not hardened to do a style particularly
right. He comes in and just he pinch hits essentially.
Yeah,
he's a pinch hitter. And
apparently, Solo is one of the most expensive films ever made.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised about that. I didn't see that, but. It's weird because you don't have. It must have been a lot of technical stuff for marketing stuff because they get a lot of actors who don't command a lot of salaries, big salaries.
Yeah,
I'm sure Alden Ehrenreich was being top billed. Probably was paid less than Woody Harrelson. I don't know.
I assume less than Donald Glover and Emilia Clarke too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a very weird Star Wars movie. It'll go down in history as the Star Wars movie with an asterisk behind it because it's just so. Unlike, it's not a saga film. It has nothing really to do with the saga other than, one part tying it in. Well, it has nothing to do with the Skywalker saga, I guess.
Yeah, it's just a character backstory movie.
Yeah.
I think if this movie was made series on Disney Plus that we would rank somewhere. I'm referring to Obi-Wan. You know, like
Okay.
I feel like if they had made Obi-Wan in 2018, it would have been just a movie. If they had made Boba Fett in 2018, it would have been just a movie. But post-COVID, it's like, oh, we'll just put this stuff on streaming.
I know.
We'll stretch it out, make a series, put it on streaming. I think this would have been better as a series also. You could have, because it felt like it was like 3 different movies crammed together, it's also over 2 hours long.
Right.
I mean, just barely over. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes, but it really would have been a lot better at closer to 90 minutes, I think. And I was watching it and thinking, yeah, I'd cut that. Yeah, I'd cut that. Yeah, I'd cut that. You know, I think if you cut a lot of stuff from it, it actually wouldn't be a bad movie at all. And I don't want to say bad movie. It would be a better movie.
I was watching this though, and I was thinking I like that it's a movie because you can tell they spent a lot of money on it.
Oh yeah,
it looks better than
that's
Obi-Wan.
true.
It looks better than Obi-Wan. It looks better than
Boba Fett, yeah.
Boba Fett at least. And so it's like you could tell they spent a lot of time on it. You can tell they went to location shootings, which they've done for some shows. But
yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
I like these.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was so much like stuff that could have came out of this that just doesn't that upsets me what this movie did, like because of the effect. Like the Obi-Wan movie that we were gonna get a whole bunch of anthology films, and then everything was canceled because this movie didn't produce the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, there's an Obi-Wan, a Yoda, and a Boba Fett. I know.
Yeah,
we're all planned.
And it's just like it's stupid because it's like you still could have done these. You released this too soon after Last Jedi. You had all that hate at Star Wars. Like, just let it chill. And they couldn't. Yeah. They couldn't just wait till December, release this in December. Give people time to relax from Last Jedi and get excited again. And I don't understand why they just dropped this when they did in May.
Really, what it comes down to is they had 2 movies for 2018. They had this and Rogue One. And so, I'm glad if they're going to throw one to the wolves, it was this one, because I love Rogue One, and, though I don't know how it did box office wise either, but.
Rogue One's 2016.
Rogue One's 2016. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that's what we were saying, that Peter was saying it was December 2018.
So, yeah, what I was saying was this is the only one that was released in the summer.
Oh.
And
not even summer, it's March, right?
May.
It was May, yeah.
Oh, it's May. Oh, okay.
Right. So, that's too soon after the last Star Wars movie, whereas, Rogue One had a year. Everything else had a year between. This had 6 months.
So they didn't have a December 2018.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then that's just dumb.
I guess maybe
December.
Yeah, maybe and it's a marketing decision, I guess, when they do this. But they may have wanted to make more money in the summer as opposed to the fall or whatever. But I don't know.
Yeah, bad decision all around.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, did they have an Avengers in December 2018?
I don't. I could look that up. But
yeah, because that actually could be it. They might have had an Avengers going on, but I think they do all the Avengers ones in the summer also. So I don't know.
Oh, Infinity War was 2018.
But it's like June, right?
September.
Yeah, so. That could have done. Mike, no, I'm getting a word now. They had Mary Poppins Return, so I'm sure they expected that to be. I'm sure they expected that to be Buffalo box office. They didn't want to compete with that.
Yeah, no. Avengers: Infinity War was April, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp was July, and Captain Marvel was 2019. So, and then February was Black Panther. So, I don't know why they didn't just sit on it. I mean, they had
no reason.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a contract with Ron Howard that the longer it sat, the more they had to pay him or something.
Yeah, business.
Who could say? But yeah, you were talking about the Lord and Miller thing. I was wondering if they're like really huge Star Wars fans, because if you watch this, there are so many references to the old EU. Like I watched a video breaking it down, and it's like 35.
I have to imagine crazy. They were. I know Lord and Miller originally. I was reading, Wikipedia. Lord and Miller originally wrote it, but their name was taken off as part of the deal for them when they brought in other people to rewrite it. So I'm sure
they said they didn't want their name associated with it, which that's when it's bad, when you're Star Wars and people are making you take their name off of it.
Right.
Anytime someone's trying to force you to take their name off of a thing, it's bad times coming, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not always box office wise, like Gladiator. That did really well. The historical director for that sued to get her name taken out of the credits. So
why?
Because it's incredibly historically inaccurate. She sent them a list of 115 historical inaccuracies, and they didn't fix any of them. And so she sued to have her name taken off the credits so it wouldn't ruin her academic career.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, that's my random history thing.
I will get into that. I have thoughts about that, but I'll save that for another time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, I know who to talk to when I cover that movie someday. No, with this film, like I just remember a lot of bad talking about it. I remember people being not excited for it. I remember like I had no interest in seeing this movie either. I mean, I kind of regret not seeing it in theaters, but my wife had no interest. I think I was burned out after Last Jedi because it was just I just did not enjoy that movie, and I was like, I don't give a shit, and I didn't go see this.
See, I saw it in the theater because I am a Star Wars nerd and I have to go see everything, but also this was the first movie other than like a cartoon, the first non-cartoon I took my son to. So he was 6 and he loved this movie so much. He loved it, and being in the theater watching it with him, I was like, it was very infectious, his enthusiasm and joy, because he had seen, I mean, at that point in time, Force Awakens was his favorite movie. But this is the first time I took him to a theater to see a movie, and he was just like so excited, just like bouncing up and down in his seat when they're in the Millennium Falcon and stuff.
This is a cool movie to be your first.
Yeah. My first non-kid movie was Batman, so in the theater, I mean. So that's a good one. But
that is.
But yeah, it's I think it's a very flawed movie. I still like it. I enjoyed watching it today, but it's definitely not my favorite.
Yeah, that's my general consensus as well. I did enjoy it much more than I did the first time. I had not seen it since the theater. And, going in, knowing what I did, I was able to just enjoy the ride as opposed to like putting my face in my hands, being like, oh no, why are they talking about that? Et cetera, et cetera.
This does have a lot of groans. This has a lot of, especially if you're kind of allergic to member berries like I am, because it just pisses me off when they do that kind of stuff. Where it's like, oh, see, he said the thing. And this movie is wall to wall. He said the thing.
There's too many callbacks. This movie is the epitome of we need to explain everything about, Han Solo. How did the ship get wrecked? How's the other dice?
Yes, how'd the ship get wrecked? That was ridiculous.
It's like
this movie's taking place 15 years before Star Wars. Just we can assume that it gets beaten up. We don't need to see it literally losing the pieces to become more busted looking.
I mean, it was a good scene I didn't need. It was definitely gratuitous. There's a lot of gratuitous things in this movie. I have a list of gratuitous.
Gratuitous is the word. Gratuitous is it.
He even says, I got a good feeling about this, which he is notorious in all the other movies. I got a bad feeling about this all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. And that was one of my least offensive things about it.
That was funny.
Because I laughed when he said that.
I did too.
It was so much. The dice. Here's how he got the dice. Here's how he got the gun. Here's how he got the name. Here's how Chewie got the name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here's where he got this catchphrase. This is where they got that catchphrase.
Here's where he learned the trick about got a lot of nerve coming here after what you pulled,
Right. Yeah. I was just on my way to see you. Yeah.
It's like, we don't need that. Like
it's too much.
There are so many references to A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I love it though. Like I loved all the member berries.
See, I like the subtle ones. Like he kisses Kira when he kisses Kira on the Millennium Falcon. It's the same room where he kissed Leia.
I
on
didn't
the
catch
Millennium
that.
Falcon. Things like that. Little things like that are great. All the little like references to the extended universe in like throwaway lines about this planet. Oh, that's from a Lando Calrissian novel called blah blah blah. And this planet, that's from a Han Solo novel. And this is from the Maw was mentioned in the Jedi Academy trilogy. It's things like that. That's great.
Right.
That's great because they don't draw your attention away. Or when you're in, Voss's office or his room, and you see like, there's a Sith holocron in the background. There's a crystal skull, which is not from Indiana Jones. It's from a Han Solo book. It's from the cover of a Han Solo book. But still, things like that, those are great. There's some Mandalorian armor in the corner. Cool.
Yeah. With Dryden Voss.
Yeah. Dryden Voss's office is like got a bunch of little Easter eggs in the background.
I didn't catch that. That is cool.
There must be
I didn't catch it either. Yeah, I watched that breakdown video of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw the crystal skull and I was like, oh God, from the fucking Indiana Jones movie. But then I watched the breakdown like, no, actually look, it's like exactly the one from this Han Solo novel. I was like, oh yeah, it is. So
and I'm assuming like this was the first thing to really put all his like past in it too.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been in a lot of his past have been, just in the EU novels, which none of them are canon anymore. And so other than that, everything was a mystery, which is cool. And
I
good,
forget.
because he's supposed to be mysterious.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the old canon. I should have looked it up, but I think he had something to do. A lot of it was kept similar in terms of
it was a lot of similar.
He joined the Imperial.
He got kicked out of the academy. Was from a comic book.
I don't believe he wasn't. Oh, maybe he was an orphan.
He was. That's
orphan,
in the. I actually found some of the stuff. It said for the childhood in the previous canon, the movie's version of Solo spends his childhood as a space version of Oliver Twist, performing for a Fagin type figure. And Solo, this ringleader, is a female alien. Yeah, but that didn't help me.
Yeah, they kept a lot of things similar, but I don't remember what was talked about in the Han Solo novels from like the 70s or 80s, which would be interesting to read again.
Yeah,
just because they're not exactly canon. They weren't exactly old canon, but they weren't like not old canon either. So
yeah,
I also didn't realize that blaster was supposed to be the same blaster that he has in
because
it's
the DL-44. Yeah,
because we get to see where he gets everything.
Yeah,
it doesn't do that too much.
It doesn't wait. The dice was like right up at the top as the dice in like the opening of the movie.
It's
the dice. Like we don't need to. But they brought those. They had brought those back in The Last Jedi when Luke gives them to Leia, except not really because he's a force projection, so they're force projection dice. But whatever.
They go back to the. We'll talk about that when we get to Last Jedi.
yeah.
They go. I know we're just listing things, the callbacks, but I want to talk about the chess game. It's like how many we saw that in Force Awakens, and we saw it in. I think we saw it in Last Jedi, and then we saw it again in Rise of Skywalker, and we see in this movie. So every time they go back to the chess well to be like, remember this? Huh? You like this from the first movie.
Yeah.
You get to see more chess. You get to see Wookiees don't like losing at the chess game. We'll talk about that again and again.
Chewbacca ripped someone's arms off at one point, too.
Yep, he did.
Which was fine. That
didn't
bother me.
Anyway, just to start us off, I think it does... I like the Oliver Twist kind of stuff. I like the Lady Proxima stuff that it opens with. I think she's an interesting character, and I like that. I would have liked to see more of her. I would like to see her maybe come back, but I feel like the glimpse we got of her was pretty cool because it's like not like anything we've seen in Star Wars.
Yeah, and I liked the humor of that scene. It felt very Lord and Miller. It feels like a joke they left in that they wrote, where he takes the rock and he very clearly makes the clicking sound of his mouth. Right. It's just like that's not a thermal detonator, that's a rock, and you just made a clicking sound of your mouth. He's like, no, I didn't.
I laughed at that.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
like I like that. Just like at the beginning of The Last Jedi with the Poe like saying that he can't, where he's like trolling what's his name, Hux.
Oh,
and everyone thought that was dumb, and I'm like, that's funny. That's fun. Yeah, no, it's not very Star Wars, but that's fine.
I laughed both times I watched this movie when he does the thermal detonator joke.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
It's just funny. Like you did that with your mouth. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you acting? It's like, this is the plan. He just throws it and breaks a window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
The speeder chase was pretty cool. You got like the one stormtrooper on duty is like, oh shit, and has to chase and immediately just gets Dukes of Hazzard.
I like how he's like checking the speed. Hey, you're speeding. That's what I thought. It was just funny. Like, there's just lots of little things. When you're first introduced to Kira, however you pronounce her name.
It's Kira. Yeah.
Okay. Like, I really like her. One, I really like Emilia Clarke, so that played a big part in it. But I really like this character, too. I want more of this character. And unfortunately, after this movie, until I think recently, she is in the comics now.
Oh.
They brought her into the Star Wars comics. So, like, she continues in there, which take place, I think, around episode 4, between 4 and 5, around that time. So she's in comics now. They finally have, like, something to do with this character, and she's a great character. And it made me sad that this movie just, because it didn't do what they wanted to, they just put everything away and, are stupid. But I
like her character.
I like the way you're introduced to her. I like all that where he gives them the reason, like, he's like, hey, we gotta leave, and I'm gonna, rescue you, and then it fails.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that.
I like that.
It fails bad too, but it's like almost like the fact that they almost get to, like, when you have the whole chase, you have them get to the docking station, they bribe the guard, and they're just about to go through the door holding hands, and they grab her, and then she doesn't make it.
Yeah,
it's so good. But I just and again, it also plays such a big part in, like, affecting the character too, and I'm okay with that. Like, it's kind of heart wrenching where you see her get captured, and then essentially he doesn't find out, but you find out later on that she was pretty much sold to as a slave.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah,
which is I don't think really explained in this movie.
No,
They hint around it. They don't explain it.
I think it's pretty explained. I mean, it's not fully explained, but I think it's kind of clear because she's got a tattoo on her wrist and everything for them, so kind of like she's branded.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
the tattoo even looks more like a brand than a tattoo.
Yeah, it wasn't a voluntary decision to join. Joins.
Yeah, and then I like when he goes to the recruitment center, you can hear the Imperial March.
I did appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's the only time any of the Star Wars music has actually been like diegetic, like in the world.
Yeah. I like that bit. I remember noticing that in the theater, and I'd be like, okay, that was a nice touch. Yeah. And it was like it's very. It is the Imperial March, but it's like just a little bit different. Like
it's like in a major key. It's like upbeat. Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense.
It's like
it's kind of like in one of the James Bond movies. You know, James Bond hears his theme, and that's the code to meet like a double agent or something. And that's like a winking at the camera. That was a very. I think this is much better than that. You know, in the James Bond movie, it's very dumb, but like. I felt like they should do that more in movies. They should have somebody playing the Star Wars theme on like Canto Bight or something, and then somebody just looking at them weird.
Yeah.
I always thought that would be a fun little joke,
but yeah, I like that, and then I don't like him getting his name. That's dumb. No. I really think it should have just been him walking into that room and seeing that and like looking at it, and then it like fades to like 3 years later, and it's him on the battlefield. We could have lost the whole like Han Solo.
I think it's hilarious, but I get where you're coming from. Like, I don't disagree with you. It didn't need to be there. I like it.
Here's the thing. Why would he not have a last name? Like, he knew his dad, right? Then because he says his dad built those ships. Isn't that?
Yep.
So why wouldn't he know? Why wouldn't he have a surname unless he got rid of his surname or whatever? I feel like it's just a dumb thing. I want to know who decided to put that in there. And we have to explain it because Solo is actually a word. So
right.
If we don't explain how he got his name, people will wonder, why is his last name a word? Why isn't it like Blip Blorp or whatever?
It'd be like if in Phantom Menace, like Anakin was a tightrope walker.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, it's like he walks in the sky.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Okay, that is fair. I will go with that. I mean, I enjoyed it because I thought it was cheeky, but to me, I also took it as I don't think they meant it this way, that the Empire just doesn't give a shit. The guy's like, my job is to recruit people. I don't give a shit what your name is. You're in the Army.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it seemed like he was like, the guy didn't seem that bad. I don't know, maybe. But I like when it goes in 3 years later and he's on the battlefield as like a mud trooper or whatever.
Mimban. That's what.
I didn't understand why why they're not wearing any like stormtrooper armor if they were like lower class.
I don't know. I mean, I know why.
Infantry,
I know exactly why. I know exactly why. We need to see his face. We need to see Woody Harrelson's face. We need to see Tandy Newton's face. We need to see their faces because we paid for these people to be in our movie. We need to see their faces. So let's show their faces. You notice Jon Favreau's character, Rio, he's got his helmet on because he's the alien.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they do have helmets. They're just all not wearing them. Only they're wearing helmets. They're not wearing the face part of the helmet for some reason. So yeah, they could have made them stormtroopers, but then that wouldn't have allowed us to see everyone's face without them taking off their helmets.
Good point. Right. I mean, there were stormtroopers around.
Yeah, there were. That's the thing. There were stormtroopers. So it's like, well, so are these these aren't conscripts because Han joined. So it's not like they're like local conscripts or something. This is Imperial Army. They just decided it would look cooler for them to not be in stormtrooper.
It kind of bothered me that they weren't wearing helmets. I mean, I get it from the movie perspective, but it did bother me a little bit because I'm like, why aren't, if these are just, your normal troops, or are these a different kind of troop or something? I wanted some answer, but I get it.
Yeah. It doesn't make much sense for them not to have a squad of stormtroopers down there as opposed to infantry, whatever infantry division they were.
Yeah, but I'm fine with if we had ever had any reason to think stormtroopers were special.
Yeah.
But they've always been shown to be just the grunt labor, the grunt lowest level of the Empire anyway. So they're not special forces or something. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine though. It didn't bother me really so much as why aren't they just stormtroopers? That would make more sense.
But at least you explained it now. I mean, that does make sense why they probably did that.
Yeah, and specifically because Woody Harrelson's I guess at the time anyway, he was the biggest actor in this, I would think, right?
Yeah.
It's Donald Glover is pretty big, but Not really for acting. I mean, he's in Community. He's more famous as a musician, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's special when you get the "and" credit of the cast. I think at the closing credits, like "and Woody Harrelson," and that's usually a sign that you're prestigious or something.
Yeah, looking at the poster, Woody Harrelson's second bill, and Emilia Clarke is third, and Donald Glover's fourth. Interesting.
Yeah.
When was Community? Was Community before this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Community was already done by now. Well, I mean, Community but he's a TV star compared to Woody Harrelson was also a TV star, but he's also a movie star.
Yeah, no.
Emilia Clarke was a TV star. Well, she's an HBO star, and it's HBO, it's not TV, it's HBO. So.
Now it's
similar, like Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Right.
Say what?
Well, I was making a joke. I said now it's
Max.
Max is bad, by the way. Like that, when that app first went up, God, was it awful! Like so many technical errors. It still has errors.
It's identical. The website's identical, really. So, except they no longer have the Studio Ghibli like button. So now to watch like Studio Ghibli stuff, I have to go to I have to either type it in or I have to go to like adult animation, anime, and then scroll down like 3 pages until it gets to Studio Ghibli category.
Truly brilliant business decision to make your app worse and to get rid of the one prestigious brand in your name that everyone goes for. It
really feels like their new CEO was like pissed off that he's like, people should care more about they should care more about Discovery than they won't let me change the name to Discovery plus HBO, so we're gonna call it something else. I don't know. So stupid. Yeah, I like Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in it too. Like, I mean, it's got a good cast. Paul Bettany.
Yeah, it's a really decent cast, and I don't think everybody gives it their all, and they do a really good job. I mean, I think
everybody's good in it. Yeah.
Yeah, my main problem is not with the acting. I think Alden Ehrenreich he does a good job as Han Solo. I think it's better to cast him than de-age Harrison Ford or whatever.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, he gets some of the mannerisms down. He's not as good as Donald Glover when it comes to the mannerisms of Lando, but he does he does a good job in the mannerisms of Han Solo. Like he captures some of that stuff that like you could see Harrison Ford doing in the other movies. I hate the fact that Disney learned the wrong lesson from this movie as being like, we can't recast Harrison Ford ever again.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Well, they killed him anyway, so I mean, no reason.
He's coming back. Alden Ehrenreich's getting older. I don't know what they would do, or if they'd ever do another Han Solo movie.
No. I can't see them ever doing another one. There's no reason to. There wasn't really a big reason to do this one.
No.
Definitely. Yeah.
It was called to make money, and they spent. The problem is they spent too much money on this movie.
Yeah.
And I do think part of that was the reshoots and because they reshot and rewrote a lot of stuff after they got rid of Lord and Miller. So that probably cost billions of dollars to do that.
And so Rogue One had a similar issue, right? They fired the director. And who did they bring in? Gareth
Edwards.
Oh, okay.
He did the Godzilla movies, right? I think.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I like the cast a lot. I love this idea of how he meets Beckett's team.
Right. Oh yeah, that scene's great when they call him and he says Captain and he said and everybody kind of laughs and if you watch it for the first time you don't know what they're laughing at, but he's like, he's got bullet holes on he took the uniform off a body.
Yeah, which I love that Han Solo clocked that.
Yeah.
Also later.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, I like that idea, and I was like, what would be cool is if the whole movie is just him joining their crew, and then instead of it being like these 3 different movies, at least 2 different movies, like if they had their heist on the train and it goes bad, and then they have one more heist, and then that's it. But it kind of just keeps going. But I felt like you could have like almost like an Ocean's 11, kind of like heist movie with them, and that would have been better.
Yeah, they should have done we have to assemble the team, and the whole typical trope of going to a planet and blah blah blah. You find the heisters, etc.
Yeah, that could have been pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would have rather had that.
Yeah,
I think that would have helped this too.
They kind of do that with Lando, and don't get me wrong, I like the Lando bit, but I feel like it'd been more fun to see them assemble that team.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
Yeah, that would have been cool. But I like the team. I like Woody Harrelson. I love do you say, is it Thandie or Tandy Newton?
I believe it's pronounced Tandy.
Yeah,
Tandy
I like
no age. Yeah.
I like her on Westworld.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I need to watch that one day.
What else she's in? She's great in Westworld.
She was in Mission Impossible too, the one that no one talks about.
Oh yeah, that's true.
She was in that. She's been in some other things that I can't recall, but she's well established.
Yeah, I liked her in this. I liked Jon Favreau as Rio was a lot of fun.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Rio is cool because it's something I was thinking about. I'm like 99% certain in Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. The guy in that is the same race as him. Definitely looks the same, and it's the same job. He's the pilot of the ship in Fallen Order.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. I didn't think about that, but okay.
And he even says in this movie, like at one point, that his dream is to open a cantina somewhere warm, right? And in Jedi Survivor, that's what that guy's done, is he's opened a cantina in a pretty warm location.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I can't imagine that it could be a reference, but I like that. Like in Jedi, of course, Jedi Fallen Order is after this, but I wonder if they, like the people who made that game were like, oh, it'd be cool to make him the same race as Jon Favreau's character from this.
Yeah, I like
similar temperament too, similar like humor.
That's cool.
Of course, it could be some other six-armed race. I don't know. Six-limbed race. I don't know, but it looked the same.
No, it's probably the same race.
Yeah,
we can look it up. We cared enough, but
yeah, it's got to be. But anyway, I like their whole.
It's cool.
Their whole meeting. Yeah, very
and the whole idea of how the Empire really doesn't give a shit either. Like the fact that like as he's talking with them, he overhears them, and at one point he's like. He threatens blackmail. Like, hey, I could just go tell, I bet that guy would love to hear the fact of what you guys are up to.
Oh, yeah.
And where Woody Harrelson's like, all right, you want to play that game? Sure. Hey, this guy's a deserter. Take him away. And, and he's like, wait, but yeah, again, they don't trust him. But, because again,
I love before that, where he's like, where he had left them and he's like with his lieutenant, and the lieutenant's like, all right, man, we're going to move up. We're going to do this. And he's like, why are we doing this? He's like, for the glory of the Empire. He's like, we will crush the invaders. And he's like, well, crush the hostiles. He's like, but we invaded them. We're the hostiles.
Yeah. It's a good little critique of the Empire right there.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's one of the rare Star Wars movies where the Empire is not the main villain. Like, I feel like in most other works, they're fighting, well, I guess in the prequel trilogy, but like, the Empire is like just a sideshow in this.
Yes. Yeah, they're not really involved.
About the larger universe, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Empire isn't even like the villain in the grand scheme of things. It's more of Crimson. What are they called?
Dawn. Yeah,
Crimson Dawn, which I like. That's why I was like, also, we'll get there. But like, I was bummed that we don't get in our movies. I wanted to see more of this world and more of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I would love for there to be a gritty Star Wars series. Unfortunately, I feel like they try to make them, as we saw with Boba Fett, they make them too nice. Like a gritty, like crime series or something, maybe.
Yeah, I would say I think Andor is pretty gritty, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, gritty crime one. Yeah, it's not happening.
Yeah, I know.
No, and that hurts because everything like the way Woody Harrelson, like their whole meeting, and then you have him run into Chewbacca. That's okay. It's not my favorite. Like I would have rather maybe had them meet some other way than him getting tossed in a cell with a Wookiee.
I don't know. I did like. I agree, but I also liked their interactions down there.
Okay,
where he's about to kill him, and he growls at him, and Chewbacca stops, and he goes, yeah, I speak a little.
Yeah, I felt that was, I'm kind of two minds about it, although overall I liked it. When I first saw it, I was like, ugh. But now I'm kind of, I've turned around on it, that's actually a funny bit.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that Chewbacca is going to, eat him or whatever. And all that. Like, I'm like, oh, come on. Because Chewie's a skilled mechanic and pilot. That's kind of a thing in Star Wars, though. They like to kind of have their cake and eat it too with Chewbacca. That he's like a wild, temperamental native, but also he's like a skilled pilot and a mechanic, and he's friends with Yoda. It's like, but still, I like the joking around. I like that. I'm always like a big sucker in Star Wars for people talking to Chewbacca and R2-D2.
Right.
and kind of trying to figure out from context what they might be saying. It's always since I was a kid, I've always liked that a lot.
That's fair.
And so it's a fun scene, I think.
Yeah, and I guess the fact that he spoke Wookiee was enough to get him to not get murdered.
Right.
I guess.
It's enough to stop it for the moment at least, and then you can talk to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm understanding. And when they do the whole pretend to fight bit, and Han pretends to be like, oh no, stop, I can't take it anymore. It's quite funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And the soldiers above are like, oh man, it's just getting good.
Yeah. And then Chewie's not selling it well enough, and so Han actually insults him, and then Chewie just throws him, just tackles him through the thing.
I did like that.
People are looking. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the insult that he called him is something that Han Solo said in The Force Awakens.
Oh, I did not know that.
It is. Yeah. But again, that didn't bother me because I wouldn't have known that without watching like a breakdown video. I wouldn't have caught that. That's fine. That's like the subtle ones like that are fine.
Right.
Okay. That's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
That they did that. No, and then like when they get out, like the whole idea of how they escape, and then they try to run both two different ways, and the chain just grab them and pull them back. I thought that was cool too.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
And then when they get aboard the ship and Han's taking a shower, and then Chewbacca steps into the shower with him.
Yeah.
And Han's
That
like,
was funny too.
we couldn't have maybe done this one after another or one at a time.
So there were some funny bits.
Yeah, it had the humor in it was good. I enjoyed the humor throughout the whole movie.
Same.
My only problems with it were the just unnecessary explaining of everything, and it was too long.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't like that it implies that everything we know about Han Solo happened like a 2-week period.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks at most. Yeah,
yeah, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. He meets Lando, Han, Chewie, he gets Millennium Falcon, and then he's right where he is and when New Hope starts. And they're like, come on. He gets his blaster. He finds out about Jabba the Hutt and plans to go meet him soon. So we can assume that he's been working for Jabba the Hutt for 15 years off and on. It's just, it was like they crammed too much in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I still really want that. I want that movie we didn't get.
Right.
Yeah. So, because that's how it felt to me. That really feels like when they do mention that near the end, that they were setting up for a sequel.
Oh, clearly. I feel like they would have, if it had been successful, everybody loved it, they would have brought back Kira, obviously, because she was a big star.
Oh, they both signed three of them signed a 3-year or 3-movie contract.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they had plans.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Glover is amazing as Lando, so him getting a Lando movie or series would be cool.
Yeah. He claims it's going to happen, Donald Glover does, but I very much doubt it.
I doubt it too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's done. At this point, it's 2018. We're in 2023. Yeah, we're not getting nothing from this.
I think Disney is just like, let's turn the chapter on Star Wars, guys.
Yeah.
We've soured things a little bit with a few of these movies. Let's just do something new, but not that new.
Well, let's see. I'm just trying to think what happens after they escape from the prison.
Then he runs to the ship they were stealing.
Right.
Yeah.
They get the whole shower scene, and then they go to the train raid, which I really like this train raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the train raid is good, and I like when another Han and Chewie moment that's pretty funny is. Han's like, yeah, so we got I got us on this crew. It's going to be good. And Chewbacca goes, roar. And he's like, no, I'm pretty sure it was mostly me they wanted. Chewbacca's like, yeah. I like that idea. It's like, because that is true. Chewbacca was the one that sold it. Is Beckett was like, we could use some muscle, about Chewbacca.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need muscle. I mean, I don't think that job would have worked at all with just 3 people.
They needed, yeah. I don't know what their plan would have been. Their plan would have been different, I guess. But
I do like the joke when they're like, we could hire Bosk. Like, I'm okay with that joke.
Bosk and also, twins from Shadow of the Empire.
Don't know what you're talking about, and it's bothering me.
They're like twin alien sisters that work for the, what are they called? The Golden Sun or whatever?
Black Sun?
The Black Sun, yeah. They work for that Black Sun. They work for the main villain.
Yeah, I do remember that was a reference.
It shows the Empire, yeah. And it's, they say we could, get the so-and-so twins or Bosk. Yeah.
Okay, there's another reference in here, too, not a little bit later when Donald Glover meets Beckett, Woody Harrelson's character, he says, oh, you killed Aura Singh. She wanted to kill me. And I like that because she's a reference from, she was in the prequel movies for a very brief scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's in Clone Wars also.
Yes. She plays a big part in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It's weird that they would give, they never really explain what happened there. Did they? What happened with Tobias Beckett killing her? I mean, I guess for such a big character.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't that big, really. Oh, I guess she's big in Clone Wars. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Phantom Menace, she's like in it for like maybe half a second.
Yeah, she's just there.
I remember that being teased as some big thing, but it never
she's
really.
There. Oh, look at this toy you could buy. Huh?
Right. I mean, well, yes.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I mean, if you talk more about the trains, like the whole idea that they're gonna, they're gonna steal this train car and they have this whole plan. Yeah. It's just such a good scene.
Yeah,
I
I really liked it. Yeah.
It looked really good. Was really exciting. It had a lot of nice action parts. And you have not only the Empire, but you have the Enfys Nest pirates come and attack them too.
Yeah.
I mean, so and plan would have worked had it not been for the Enfys
Nest,
the pirates, because they would have been. I mean, the stormtroopers have the freaking magnetic boots. I really got a kick out of that too.
Yeah, yeah. Every planet has their own different type of stormtrooper. It's really.
And I'm here for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same.
I love that so much. I mean, I didn't understand why they didn't have magnetic boots or something when you're going to go take a train that is going to be moving on the track that you're trying to, steal. But hey, whatever. I'm okay with that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They're not the smartest pirates, so, it's okay. They really aren't the smartest pirates. They're not great pirates.
Well,
yeah. That since we're talking about a nitpick, I find Woody Beckett's twirling his blasters thing is just the stupidest. It's just so...
you didn't like Revolver Ocelot in this movie?
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, that's what it is.
It's Blaster Ocelot. Yeah, you're right.
Just give him a Russian accent.
Yeah.
Then you'd have Revolver Ocelot right there. But no, I can get where you're coming from with that. I mean, there's some stupid moments with it. I enjoyed it personally, but I can get it. Just everything with the train, I thought it's just such a cool scene. And how the pilot gets killed, but, because I didn't even completely realize, because, after that scene, he's gone. Because he gets shot. He's like, yeah, and then he just dies.
Yep.
It's kind of, I'm like, oh, this is kind of sad.
And Tandy Newton dies as well.
That made me sad. I liked her.
Yeah, I feel like she's probably happy to be in Star Wars, but, I'm sure it was a small role, basically, for such an established actor.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a part of any heist movie where the team members get picked off. So.
Yeah.
It is,
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like in The Matrix.
Yeah.
When we lose Switch and APOC, and it's like, Switch is, so interesting looking. I want to see more Switch.
I like the coaxium explosion, too. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I read that they got the inspiration from looking at a firecracker blow up underwater, kind of an implosion. And that's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. That is cool. That was a cool scene where he's like, don't let go of the, he's like, again, I was thinking to it, had he just played chicken, they all would have died anyway, because there wasn't enough time to pull that thing out no matter what.
Right. And Beckett was just so focused on them succeeding that he was not thinking clearly. Yeah.
They had no chance of surviving that.
Yeah.
So to me, it didn't make sense. What are you doing here? You can't, you don't have a choice.
It made sense that he would make a bad decision about that. I felt like.
Okay, that is, because he does make a bad decision about it. So
yeah,
that's a fair point. No, it's just a good, it's just a good scene, and then kind of showing again Han Solo can't follow orders,
right?
Ever.
Yeah, and Han Solo dumping cargo, which is how he got in bad with Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah,
I thought
origin story.
Yeah, there you go.
Why does he dump cargo so often? Well, here's why we tell you.
Fair.
I didn't even think about that one until just now. That's exactly it. He's dumping cargo.
Right. Yeah.
But it's good. It's a great scene.
And then that brings us to them going to Dryden Voss. And I like it where Beckett is like, hey, just leave. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't need to know who you are. Just go. Because you come with me, you're marked for death too.
Yeah, I like that. Beckett's he can tell he has a soft spot for him.
Yeah.
He's giving him a chance to get out.
Which is, it's cool.
And I like Paul Bettany as Dryden Voss.
Same.
I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be an alien or if he was just scarred.
I think he's just scarred.
I think he's supposed to be a near human, is what Wikipedia said. He's not human, but he's almost. He's one of those Star Trek aliens that just have a weird.
I was gonna say it's like Star Trek, where it's yeah.
But it's unclear. But I liked him too. He was basically just some guy. He wasn't an evil wizard or anything. He was he's like a gangster who was a polished gangster, basically. And I like that. He wasn't anything too grandiose for Star Wars. It was a kind of down-to-earth villain.
They had to give him some double-bladed lightsaber knives, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I like those knives. Okay, those knives are awesome. And the fact killing somebody you're first introduced to him. And he's like, here, put these. I might need these later. And I didn't catch this right away. But the woman he gives them to doesn't have half a head.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's that's another reference, deep cut Star Wars reference.
Yeah, I had no idea that was deep cut. But
yeah, it's so okay. So the guy in A New Hope in the bar who tells Luke, we're wanted in 10's we've got the death sentence in 10 systems or whatever, right? That guy in the EU, he is a plastic surgeon and is but he's like a psychotic plastic surgeon who does like weird, creepy surgeries to people. And he took these like humanoid, like pleasure androids and chopped off the top of their heads and turned them into these servants. And that's, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if it's EU. I think it's like deleted scene from Rogue One, actually.
Oh, that's cool, though, that they put it in there somehow.
Yeah, I would never have had any idea. I was just like, that is a really cool design and not like anything you've ever seen in Star Wars.
I just thought it was more of like, this is a crime syndicate and they have people that have been tortured or, mutated into what they want.
Yeah, they're
slaves.
Yeah, I figured they were not supposed to be like living, though. I figured they were androids or droids of some sort, but I figured they were, I looked at them and I was like, oh, they're like probably like sex slave droids that have been like repurposed to be, waiters. And it's like a, subhuman, we're going to cut off their face thing so you don't look them in the eyes. I don't know.
That's fair.
I thought it was a very neat look.
It helps push how bad Dryden is without really showing it too much at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, he's badass, like, character,
when he's
they're
killing
working
that
for.
Person, when you walk in and he's just killed a person, he's like panting. So he didn't like kill them in this like cold thing. He's like, like that. Like he's like, really into it.
He gets off on it.
I thought that was really neat. And then he hands it and says, "Take these to my office. I may be needing them later." Like
I love that.
I may be killing Beckett.
Well, makes sense. They failed their job.
Yeah.
You aren't gonna you failed Jabba and dump your cargo. He hunts you down and puts you in stone at some point many years later. So
I
will forgive.
And then while they're at the party, like and more just like Han and Chewie like conversation stuff is Chewbacca says something to Han and Han goes, "Yeah, I don't care, whatever." And Chewbacca shrugs and walks off. And then Han meets up with Kira and Kira gets some drinks. And then you see Chewbacca come back over and he's got 2 drinks and he sees them drinking. He's like, he looks at the 2 drinks and he shrugs and just drinks both of them. So it's clear, like Chewbacca said, "Should I get us drinks?" And Han was like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And so then, I just like that. I
didn't catch that. That's cool.
I thought it was good, good storytelling, like the little like telling a story without saying it kind of thing.
Yeah. And the way Kira goes back and forth with him, I love their dialogue, and I love how she, jumps past questions because she doesn't want to, tell him exactly what's going on. And with, the fear when she finds out he's working with Beckett, because she knows exactly what's going to happen to Beckett. And she's like,
"Oh yeah, I'm going to be killing that guy soon, or helping watching someone else kill that guy."
I mean, she's a murderer too, so it might have been her too involved somehow.
Yeah, they say that she's like his lieutenant. She's like his top person.
Yeah, and you see how badass she is throughout this movie.
Yeah, and she runs the meeting with him, where she kind of runs through she's speaking on his behalf. Yeah. Yeah. I like their whole interaction a lot. Yeah.
That meeting is really good though.
Yeah.
Part I'm a big fan of, just the way that she handles herself.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that, and how the only reason why she gets involved because she's trying to protect Solo from getting killed because she knows they're going to kill Han if she doesn't do something.
Yeah.
Because essentially, she comes up with some of the ideas. He goes, yeah, that thing. We'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're clearly working together. Yeah, like it's old times almost.
They're running
a scam together. Yeah, I liked it.
Because she just wants to, she just doesn't want to see, her childhood friend murdered, which is what's about to happen.
Yeah, and she's the one who has the idea to get the ship from Lando.
She knows a guy.
Yeah, she knows the guy. Yeah,
that is all cool. And again, it's very heist movie type thing where we got to put the team together. And I agree with you. I kind of wish you would have just had that, and then. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they had other plans, what they wanted to do, so I get it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and so I like when they go to meet Lando. And she's talking about him, and she's clearly about to say that he's got a big dick, and Han stops.
Yeah.
She says, and not to mention his prodigious. And he's like, "That's enough. I don't need to hear more."
That was funny.
Yeah.
A little bit naughty for Star Wars.
Yeah, a bit naughty for Star Wars for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't even get that's where they were going. It didn't until you guys just mentioned it. It didn't click to me that's what they were headed for, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. The other way to do it would have been not to mention his prodigious, hey, bank account, or something like that. But
yeah.
I thought it was better this way.
It was, because it also makes sense because of how, like, there's a one comment where Chewie's like, says something to Han, he's like, they're just friends, because Dryden puts his hand on her, and
yeah,
you know, exactly. The whole denial, like, yeah, no, it's like, buddy, what do you think? Like, what do you think's been going on since you left? Like,
yeah, it's been 3 years.
I mean, and also she's a woman, so like, she didn't leave that place, you know. He's just kind of stupid. So that's how I took it.
But yeah, I love when we get the reveal of Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, because he's doing such a good young Billy D. Williams. And I think that's key. He's not doing Billy, he's doing young Billy D. Williams. I like that.
Yeah, I get the sense that Donald Glover has probably been doing, because he's a nerd, he's been probably doing Lando Calrissian for many years.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
He's practiced it.
I mean, I think he's like a very underrated actor, honestly. Like, he's so good in everything he's in.
Yeah, that's true.
Community, Atlanta. I love him in Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, the one scene. He was supposed to be more.
Good. Oh, he's clearly, I mean, he's the Prowler. I mean, he's clearly, like, if you listen to what he's saying. But
I wonder if they're going to actually ever recognize that and put him in more stuff or not.
But. I mean, he voices, doesn't he voice the Prowler in the Spider-Verse movies too?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he does. Pretty sure he's the voice for this for that. So
I don't even know if we're getting more Spider-Man movies yet with Tom Holland.
The Spider-Verse is what I was. Oh, you mean the Tom Holland ones?
Yeah, they said we're supposed to get 3 more, but I
think we're probably getting 1 more.
Yeah, I don't think we're. I mean, they're not. Yeah. That contract with Sony ain't gonna go.
Yeah, he is. He's Aaron Davis in the Spider-Verse movies.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
he does a good job. But man, does he play a good Lando? Like everything with the poker game or Sabacc game, like where Solo comes in, he says it wrong on purpose, so then he says Han's name wrong.
Yes, and great because he says Han, which is how Lando always says his name in the original trilogy.
Yeah,
which was just a flub on Billy D. Williams' part. Right. They didn't. I mean, which they did. Leia calls him Han one time also. So,
but it's so good. Like it's just, and then like there's one joke with the multiple eye aliens. Like, hey, put your eyes on your own cards. All your eyes. Like it was just funny little crap.
Yeah.
Funny little stuff happening.
I see yours now too. That's what you get. Yeah.
It was just, I liked it, and then the fact that like Lando beats him because he cheated. Like I don't think you see it, but it's insinuated. Well, you find out.
Yeah, it's where he says like he shouldn't have had that card. I counted all of them or something.
Yeah, there weren't any more green Cylops left. Like he didn't. That card was already played.
Yeah, because Han was carding cards. Yeah, I like that.
Which makes sense. That's how you got around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being good at cards, plays in it, and the whole bluffing and everything, all that plays in it. And then
it's a good subversion because that he wins the Falcon from Lando in a Sabacc game, and so when he doesn't win it here, you're like, oh, it's a good subversion of expectations, I think. Yeah,
it is. And then Lando still joins him because Kira hires them, and this is also introduced that droid. I can't remember her name all of a sudden.
Oh, Leet. L337. Leet.
Yeah,
I like her.
Oh, I love her. It's Phoebe Waller-Bridge from Fleabag.
Yeah, and soon to be in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, that's right.
Aren't you excited for that, Peter?
I'll reserve my thoughts till I actually see the movie.
Yeah, me too. I saw a review once from IGN, and I was like, oh, it's already out, and it's like still out a month later. I'm like, this is weird.
I think, but she's really good in the TV series Fleabag, and she's been in some other things I can't. Oh, she wrote the latest James Bond movie, among other things, so she's
that's cool.
Co-wrote it. Yeah. You can definitely tell. If you watch that movie, No Time to Die Again, you'll see, like, oh, that's a Phoebe Waller-Bridge line. Like, there's some lines that are very clearly her lines. Anyway,
That's cool, though.
She's been getting more acclaim, so... I know now this character was divisive to some segment of society who were sad about a woke droid being
Yeah, fuck them.
Right.
I loved her. She was one of my favorite things in this movie.
Yeah, it makes sense. It fits the whole thing where she wants to kind of free droids and then you want to free prisoners later on. Like, it just fits it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't... But yeah, no, it would definitely fall into that because woke is the word you use when you don't like something in a certain...
Yeah, I really like that she clearly, either she and Lando are fucking or she wants them to be, and I love it. I mean,
I'm sure you're not the only person fucking a droid in this world, so hey, it's okay.
Well, no, obviously not. Don't they say, like, Kira asks, how does that work? And then, L3 says, oh, it works.
Yeah.
Or it would work or something like that.
There's a comment, yes.
Yeah, it's clear that they're at the very least, she thinks they're in a relationship, and I think Lando's like, yeah... He seems like a little embarrassed about it. Like,
right.
but he's there too.
He is, he could have many simultaneous relationships though. He's Lando Calrissian.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly.
But I do appreciate, like, it's a funny thing to have, a droid who's self-aware enough that she's just a slave to the human
right
people.
And it's necessary because that's the thing. Star Wars makes droids as self-aware as the plot requires or as the joke requires.
Exactly.
It always has, and to have one self-aware enough to actually call that out is great.
Yeah.
And I was just one more thing with her and Lando when she gets on the Falcon and she gets into the co-pilot seat and she goes, my gears are sticking. I'm going to need you to do that thing again later. And he goes, okay.
Yeah, that made me. And then like when they're going to the ship and she's like, do it because you're my human, master. He's like, no, because I'm your captain. I like that too.
Yeah.
It was just so good, and like I couldn't get over how good Donald Glover is in this. Like.
Yeah.
Just everything. He steals the scene.
Yeah.
It just makes me so sad because we would have had him in another movie of some sort.
Yeah, I would have loved a standalone movie. It could be 2 hours of just that, and that's all we get, and that's fine.
That would be
if this movie wouldn't have bombed, I guarantee you that because we were supposed to get more stories like this.
Right. Yeah. It would have been nice to have a Lando story.
Yeah. There's a comic. Does that count?
But you don't get. I
want a Donald Glover Lando specifically. Otherwise, I don't really care. Actually.
Right.
No, I'm in the same boat.
Like I don't really care about I didn't really care to see a Solo story either,
Right.
It's fine that it exists, but it's like I want to see Donald Glover in this role just because he's so good in it.
Yeah.
No, it's really because again they were all three of them were signed up for 3 movies.
Yeah.
Him, the guy Arlen and Emilia Clarke, and like we would have they wanted to do a trilogy of these had it worked out.
Yeah, it's what could have been if not for this movie.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Disney hasn't been great at trilogies lately or ever, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Fair.
The possibilities are mighty greater than the results, but still, it's nice to think about this.
It is.
I like the look of the Falcon, by the way. The Falcon
I did too.
Really nice. It looks really nice and shiny, and it has that little. I guess it's an escape pod or something at the front, but it looks kind of cool with that all.
Yeah, he called it escape pod. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that the ship is new looking because it makes sense because this is before everything happens to that ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
before the one day where it got wrecked. But
Lando gets upset with Han in Empire about how he's treated it.
Yeah. And
how banged up it is. And we know this is Lando's pride and joy new ship. So it makes sense that Lando would have kept it looking real fresh and clean,
Yeah, exactly.
Inside and out. And so, it's much more beaten up later. I don't think we needed to see it get beaten up. I think we could just assume that Han would get it beaten up because that's how Han is. But
exactly.
Yeah.
At least we saw it.
And then this is when they then head to the mine to steal the coaxium, which is the whole heist part of the movie. Now they put there.
Kessel, which
Kessel. It's cool. Everything
we've heard of Kessel, or we've seen it depending on what books and video games and stuff you've played and read. But
I think cool. I like the maw design is really cool. Like the how they get there. It's really kind of unique Star Wars location.
Yeah.
I'm okay that they finally explained what the Kessel Run was and how he did it in 13 parsec or 12, whatever. I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me because it's such an ongoing joke, and it works for this movie because it's coming up shortly.
I guess it.
I find this. Oh, and the mine has one of my favorite jokes of this entire movie. They're my favorite little Easter eggs. When they go to the place, they see the Pikes. Solo and Chewie are taken over as slaves to be castrated, essentially. And when they have that small scene where she takes out the Pike and then someone asks, "How'd you do it?" She's like, "I know Terra Kasai," or whatever that.
Terra Kasai.
Yeah, Terra Kasai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, they reference that PS1 game.
The video game, The Masters of Terra Kasai.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's how you say it, Terra Kasai. And I love the fact they did that. I'm like, that is cool because it's only for a certain set of people that are going to get excited for it, like me.
Yeah. And I just, for no one corrects me, I know it's also in the comics and the EU and stuff too. I was just saying the video game is my touch point.
Yeah, but the video game's also what most people would know. I mean,
Yeah.
This is in the title.
Yeah.
Masters of Terra
Kasai. Did that.
Yeah, I remember that very well. I remember it being like a Star Wars fighting game. What am I? I thought I want to fly around a spaceship.
I heard the game was terrible too. So
it's mediocre. Yeah, it's not great. It's fine. Emulate it, play it, check it out.
Yeah,
at some point.
PS2 game, I think.
That's PS1.
A PS1. Oh, yeah.
I just remember it because when I went to Funkoland a long time ago, it was at the Funkoland Playable, and I played it once for like 5 minutes.
Oh man,
So,
that's a name I haven't thought about for a long time.
Here's another. It was also by Southgate Mall for those in Milwaukee. That's where it was, the Funkoland near Southgate Mall. Someone might get that reference out there besides Peter.
Surely there is, yeah.
Yeah, we have Wisconsin listeners, so. But that's what I was thinking of when they said that too. That's my reference. Anytime I get that game, I think of that Funkoland.
Yeah.
Again, Kira's just awesome. And I think this is the first time we get Pikes in live action too, because this is before Book of Boba Fett, and Pikes were introduced, I think, originally in Clone Wars.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
I don't think they're anywhere else, and so I like that. I mean, you get some more alien races, and you get some cool stuff. I mean, it's kind of stupid where she punches him, and I thought she would give him a weapon or something, but she just gives him the dice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess she kept it all this time, but I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I didn't remember the dice were even in A New Hope, so to me, it just felt like this little good luck charm that they just give him because the show that she thought about him for 3 years.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know it's in the other movies, but I can't even remember it being in either of the movies of Force Awakens or A New Hope or any of that. I don't remember it. It's
in New Hope very briefly. You see Chewie bump into it, and then it became a thing. And the only reason it became a big deal, an Easter egg that they had to point out every time. And now it's in the sequels. So
it doesn't need to be in the sequels.
It's just a funny reference to what truckers did and whatever. So.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
No, but
because the Millennium Falcon is a space truck.
Right.
So what did you guys think of Beckett wearing the costume that Lando wears, in Return of the Jedi?
That was completely fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't bug me either. I feel like, so the Kessel scene is where, for me, the movie starts to shift a little bit to, I don't like it as much. And I don't know what it was. I think the Kessel scene is fine. It seems a little cheap to me. I know all the droids and stuff, but I don't know. I didn't like the design of Kessel too much. It felt a little underwhelming, and this is to me where the movie starts to get underwhelming. So it
didn't bother me. It was just it was too long.
Yeah,
like they were on Kessel for way too long. But I liked it. I like the Chewbacca sees the other Wookiees and he wants to go set them free, and so he and Han part ways, but they're not going to stay parted. And I like L337's whole like leading an uprising and all that. The firefight getting back to the Millennium Falcon is just like drawn out and takes too long.
That's where it does it for me.
It makes you go ahead.
And they're just parked there, and why isn't everybody just shooting at the ship? Why isn't like 50 people shooting at the ship and doing it? They're just kind of shooting haphazardly. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right. It's a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like they come up to the loading ramp. They come up to the ramp of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
With a sled full of those canisters. And then rather than just push the sled up the ramp, they start taking the canisters off one at a time, very slowly.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for that other than we need to make this drag out. So we're going to have them take them one at a time. There's no reason. It doesn't make any sense. The sled would fit up the ramp. You can see they're the right size for it. They don't. Or Kira decides at the very end, oh, wait, I've got grenades. I'll throw grenades and that'll solve everything. It's like, well, you could have thrown those a long time ago. It's just stuff like that. It's not well done, but it's fine.
And then
for a while, I do agree with that.
I think the next scene where they try to escape, there's just too many things. Like, why is there a Star Destroyer in this place? I don't think the Star Destroyer is necessary. It's just like, wouldn't it be cool if a Star Destroyer came out of the clouds? Because you have that danger, and then you have the danger of the space monster, which I felt like was good. But it should have been just the space monster and the black hole or whatever.
I think it was so that we could have the chase with the TIE fighters.
Yeah, but you don't. I don't.
The cool space scene.
You don't need it. I agree with Peter. I mean, it is cool, but I get where you're going with it.
That's something. It's just something I would have cut personally. I would have been like,
I would have cut the space monster probably actually instead. But I see what you're saying. Like, because I don't know, the giant space monster is a little. I don't know.
I guess really liked that part.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
If I was going to cut something, that's what I would have cut. I would have kept.
Then how else would you know what happened to the escape pod?
Well, they could have. He could have jettisoned the escape pod for similar reason, like jettison this escape pod so they've got less mass to get out of the maw or something. I don't know.
Maybe I just like the black hole idea. Like I like them getting sucked in there.
I do like. Yeah, that's cool. And
even though
go ahead.
I shouldn't be focused on science, but I'm like, in real life, if they're close to a black hole, they're going to be pressed against the bulkhead of the ship or whatever. But
they would just implode.
Oh, they've got inertial. They've got
Yeah.
inertial dampers, right?
Right.
That's Star Trek.
That's
If they're in
right.
Star Trek, we'd say they have inertial dampers.
With
That's
Star
okay.
Wars, you can't like I get where you are coming from, Peter. I do this too, especially when I watch way too much Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right.
But like you can't, with Star Wars is so divorced from like science, where Star Trek
I know.
Yeah.
Star Trek feels real, like it could be real.
Well, yeah.
I know. Like,
I know what you're saying. Yes.
Still,
I agree.
it's more realistic in the way that if we ever get there, I think we'll be close to Star Trek.
And
It'll
this
never
was
happen.
one of the this scene with the mall. Another thing I liked about it is so it made it. This was another big EU reference, a bunch of EU references at once that I got because the very first Star Wars novel I ever read when I was like 11 or 12 years old was Jedi Search, book 1 of the Jedi Academy trilogy by Timothy Zahn. And what happens in that book, Han Solo and Chewbacca go to Kessel on the Millennium Falcon. They have to go past, and to get away, they go through the Maw. And the Maw is where Admiral Dela is overseeing the facility building the Sun Crusher. So there's a secret Imperial base inside the Maw, which is a big gas cloud near Kessel.
Yeah.
So it's like they very clearly were pulling from that to put Kessel and the Maw next to. The only reason you'd have the Maw next to Kessel in the first place is that was established in Jedi Search.
Right. Yeah. I like that.
I like that.
I like that a lot too because I read the book too. I read
the trilogy. Yeah, that was my. I love the Jedi Academy trilogy. Is still really my favorite of the EU stuff that I read. Probably just because it was my first, but
that's cool. I didn't know that, but that I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that
was the one where I'm in the most. I didn't catch almost any of the EU references about a breakdown, but when I was in the theater, I was like, the Maw next to Kessel. That's perfect.
Right. Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I like when they make references to the EU, especially now since the EU doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, and that's my thing is making subtle references that 1% of the people get. I like it's the Solo or these guys that you've seen over and over again that we just saw in a movie 4 months ago. I mean, that's what I don't like.
Your name's not Chewbacca. I'm gonna call you Chewie.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, that could have been done without. Yeah,
we're gonna have to shorten that. I'm just gonna call you Chewie.
That did bother me. I was bothered by that.
Yeah, I was too. Because the thing is you know what? You know why he calls Chewbacca Chewie? Because Chewie's a nickname for Chewbacca.
Right.
That's it. We don't need it explained.
No, I know he didn't.
In the first movie, why he calls him Chewie? Because it's short for Chewbacca.
Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things where they could have skipped it and it would have been fine. You could have cut that out too.
But then they go to the refinery planet.
Yeah,
it's like a beach. The refinery a small refinery on the beach.
Yeah, I like how they barely make it in time too. I thought that was cool. Like the stuff is ready to explode, and you can see the canisters are all corroded and they're melting.
Yeah, but they got it, and they're doing that. I like some of the stuff on that planet when what's her name again? Enfys Nest shows up.
Oh yeah,
and they go to step out there. Beckett goes out to step out there, and Han steps up beside him, and he reaches down and flicks off the little thing on his holster, which is just the perfect Western gunslinger, kind of shot.
Yeah.
And is also the opening, that same camera angle and shot is in the deleted scene from A New Hope that they put back in the extended editions when he walks into the hangar bay and sees Jabba the Hutt hanging out next to the Millennium Falcon.
I didn't catch that.
I didn't catch it either, but I caught that we were referencing
everything we could.
What is the movie they're referencing? It's the Clint Eastwood. It's Good, Bad, the Ugly, I think.
Yeah.
Right. The one where he has the metal plate under his serape.
That it's one of those spaghetti westerns.
It's one of those spaghetti. But anyway, that's definitely exact shot of him standing there and the camera looking, between his hand and his holster as he flicks the little thing. That's what I caught. I didn't catch that. That's also in A New Hope. In a deleted scene of A New Hope. Though not deleted. No, for most people today, I think that's the version of New Hope they'll probably know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's how I know it now too. Unfortunately. So
that's the canonical scene that happens.
Yeah, I wish I could watch the original though, but that's a whole other story. So
yeah,
and that's not happening anytime soon in our lifetime. So
anyway,
I brought back upset feelings just now.
Oh boy.
But then Infus Nest takes off the mask and it's a girl.
It's a whoa, what?
Yeah.
A lady pirate?
And young lady pirate. She looks like she's
lady.
like 16.
I
Right.
don't care for this actress.
Erin Kellyman.
She's
fine.
She's fine in this. She's in Willow, which was never getting another season. It was
She's in
okay.
the Willow TV series.
Willow's been
I was
erased,
like,
man. That's not even on Disney anymore.
Yeah,
Can't even watch it.
They erased it from existence. It was so bad.
You can watch. I mean, this is the only reason why I'm like,
No,
I understand
can't.
why people sail sometimes. Like, hey,
I hate
They're
to
like-
break to you, but I think they got rid of it. They just took it
Yeah.
off the website.
Yeah,
they took off Disney Plus. Yes, doesn't mean it doesn't. It's also
Well, no, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess there's someone who wanted to preserve it.
You can watch
Somewhere.
it somewhere. Yes, you just can't watch it officially.
No,
Anyway,
and
She's
I was trying to
also
say that.
in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so that's why I really like it. I
She's
did
got
not
some
like that
Disney
show.
stuff. Oh, I like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I need to rewatch it. I watched it when it first came out week to week, and I remember I did not like it, but I need to rewatch it.
I mean, it's not great. It's fine.
Yeah, I assume my opinion will change when I finally get around to it again for the show. But
no, I didn't have any feelings one way or the other about her as an actress in this.
I like the fact that Enfys Nest turns out not to be just marauders and that they're people who were displaced. Except it's also cool that it's not the Empire they're at war with. They want to take out the crime syndicate.
Yeah.
I like that because again, I feel like we've got a whole trilogy of what they were going for of them fighting the crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Which we did not.
Or syndicates. Yeah.
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 I get what you're saying. I just, in terms of how long this movie is, I don't think like at the last 30 minutes we needed to introduce a new people that needed saving.
No, we
That's
didn't.
what bothered me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh
exactly.
boy, another plot point. It's like we're trying to wrap up this movie. We don't need to save this planet of people.
Exactly.
Ugh. So I don't hate it, but it's just prolonging the end of the movie, and I didn't need that to happen.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Yeah, because you could have had a showdown with the pirates or just have Woody Harrelson have the duel that they have. You didn't need to have this whole thing where they defeat the Crimson Dawn men or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's completely necessary, and I do agree with you there.
Yeah. Okay. As long as that's clear.
Yeah. No, I mean it was unnecessary. I mean, I didn't mind it,
Right.
but it's a completely unnecessary part that's just there for whatever reason it's there.
And it's not hinted at any point earlier in the movie. You just kind of think the pirates are bad pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no build up to it. They just decided we're going to do this. What do you think, guys?
And I do love when they get Dryden's yacht comes back. I like that yacht. It's just like a vertical thing. It's a very intriguing design.
I like the idea of it because I didn't realize it was a yacht when you saw it the first time.
Yeah,
it's just his hideout, but his like hideout is mobile. I like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Presumably was there still a party going on? You wonder. Like,
there's always a party going on, probably.
Yeah, I would say it's like Jabba's palace. There's always a party.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So it's just like we just don't see it this time because that'd be kind of funny if they're like hanging out in there and then like meanwhile the owner is killed in the back room.
The hors d'oeuvres cart comes through or something, or they're out of ice. The usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like some of the stuff. Like I like the fact that this is where you see Solo kind of change, and even where Emilia Clarke, Kira's character, makes that comment where she's like, "He's going to help you guys out." Like I like that. I like that Becca's like, "I'm just going to leave. Just tell him I'm dead."
Yeah.
Right. But Han like tells him his plan first.
It is again Han. I mean, the idea is that Han didn't trust him. That Han was.
I know. I love
up.
it. I love that Han like it was actually smarter. He realized Beckett's gonna double cross us. We'll use him, or possibly that was Kira's plan actually, but because she and Han ran on it together, the two of them ran on it together. But I liked it a lot. I thought it was a good double cross.
Yeah,
Kerry,
like any good heist movie.
Who one of the Marauders was?
One of the Marauders? No.
Warwick Davis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Warwick Davis is there. Yeah,
I love that he has one line in this movie too.
Apparently, he's playing the same character he was in Phantom Menace in the pod race stands. Apparently, it's supposed to be the same character from what I read.
Oh,
Weasel.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no context in the movie that you would think that, but it's fairly.
Yeah.
Because he's in that movie, but he just
randomly. You know what? That's a perfectly fine callback to have Warwick Davis. What would have been over the top is if he was an Ewok. So.
Yes.
Similar, like Anthony Daniels is in this, and but he's not C-3PO. Like that's fine.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Oh, who was he in this movie?
Oh, I don't recall off the top of my head. He's a random like Imperial officer, I think.
Oh, okay. But that's cool. They got him just to do a random bit part.
Yeah, he was a very briefly seen. I don't remember exactly where.
That's cool.
He had played Tack.
Okay.
Everyone remembers Tack.
Yeah, remember Tack?
Is that the guy that you're going to be Solo?
No.
I don't think he was Imperial officer, actually. I don't remember what his deal was.
Okay, that's fine. But like everything when they do bring the coaxium to Ross, he's like, I would believe this is the real thing. It's so convincing because it is the real thing.
Right? Yeah, I like that.
I'm not sure what their idea was if Beckett wouldn't have cheated them, because then they would have just been like, well, I guess we just go now. Bye. Thanks.
Yeah, and then they leave and they get away with the coaxium. Yeah.
Because the real coaxium was right there.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
it wouldn't have worked. So my guess
maybe their
is that
plan was to kill him.
He knew that Woody Harrelson would betray him, so he knew that at some point they could get the real coaxium back. So at some point, you just gotta go with the plan, I guess, in these types of movies, and just say, okay, they knew their plan was gonna. They knew the double cross was gonna happen.
Beckett couldn't really walk away, even if he said he's dead. They probably wouldn't have completely believed it either.
Yeah.
And when they found out the coaxium was fake, they would go looking for Beckett and all of them, because they would all be. I mean, him Solo would be wanted.
Yeah.
And eventually, you're going to figure out it's not. If he did fake it, eventually they're going to figure out it's fake. Sooner or later, you're going to try to use it and go, "You blew up our car. You blew up our car, buddy. The fuel you told us was had too much water in it. You know, something's going to happen. It's not going to work."
Yeah.
So you'd realize, like, fucker. So okay, it's just cool. Like I love the fact when Beckett comes in and like the whole scene where he shoots the two guys. He's like, I want to be the only one holding a blaster. I like that.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking. I think.
Always a good scene in movies where people are cowering behind desks and talking to each other and yelling like, I have a proposition for you. Why don't you join me? I was always sucker for that, a good standoff.
Yeah, I like a good standoff.
It was good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed that, he wants Kira to kill Solo to prove that, she's still loyal to him.
Yeah. And she sells it pretty well. Like I liked it, her little betrayal of him and everything.
Yeah.
And she's like, I was taught to use, my opponent's weakness, and I'm yours. And she just stabs him through the heart with his own weapon.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Always good to see a good stabbing in Star Wars. Yeah. Not with a lightsaber.
I mean, almost no lightsabers in this movie.
Yeah.
We almost got away with it.
Yeah.
And I could have done with, except I love the fucking scene that's coming up.
I thought that would have made more sense as a post-credits, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree, but I guess they really wanted to make sure you knew what was coming in the sequel movie.
Yeah, but before that, Han and Beckett have their little goodbye, and and Han shoots first. I love it.
Right, great scene.
Establishing definitively for the canon that Han shoots first.
Right, exactly.
Again, it made sense especially in this case to shoot first, because he knew exactly what was going to happen. He was going to talk shit and he was just going to shoot him. Like, there was no way you were coming out of where one of them had to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He imparted the valuable lesson onto Solo. Shoot first.
Well, when you're a criminal and you're dealing with other criminals, I mean, I'm sure murder is not a problem.
I like that callback. That callback was good. It's fun. Show that he shoots first.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Sorry, George Lucas.
Yeah, you don't control Star Wars anymore, George Lucas.
Oh, yeah, because didn't he change it, right, where then Solo doesn't shoot first?
He changed it multiple times. Yeah.
Multiple. I mean, the definitive version that is that you can watch right now on Disney Plus, Greedo shoots first.
After saying McClunky.
Yeah, McClunky.
then they shoot.
Yeah.
But in the original cut, he shoots first, right?
Right. Yeah.
Han shoots first.
Greedo doesn't shoot at all.
Greedo doesn't get a chance to shoot because that would be dumb. That would make Han Solo just look incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
But doesn't he have the luck side of the Force, right? Remember, Kerry?
Yeah,
he doesn't believe in the Force.
That's not the luck side of the Force. It's luck. It's a whole other.
I know.
It's a whole other separate magic system.
Whatever you bitched about in one of our episodes that we recorded, so I had to bring it up.
That's from the EU. That doesn't count anyway.
Also, this movie takes place. They didn't really have an exact time frame. They said it was 10 to 12 years before A New Hope, which works.
Yeah.
But to talk about the last thing, so after he shoots Beckett, then he sees the yacht leave, and then when you see Kira, she's telling, this mystery person they all work for, you find out is Darth Maul. And one thing about this is Darth Maul's story had already been wrapped up by the time in Rebels. It happened. It's a really fucking good episode. But the whole idea of him taking over the syndicates actually hadn't aired yet. That airs in the last season of Clone Wars, which comes out in 2020.
Oh, really? Oh.
That's when they finally show it happening. So I got also really excited. I'm like, wait a second, this wasn't around yet. I mean, I think I don't know if they even mentioned it in Rebels about him running the crime syndicates. They might, but I don't remember. But the episode that he takes over the crime syndicates where it shows that happen is all in the last season of Clone Wars. Which is really fun.
He's not just in charge of the Crimson Dawn, then he's in charge of like all the different syndicates.
He unites them all because he threatens to kill them all, essentially.
So he's like the Dawn of all the syndicates, and then each syndicate has their own structure. So you got like the Hutt Syndicate and the Crimson Dawn.
He's not working with the Hutts. It's the Pikes, the Crimson Dawn. There's some couple other ones he takes over too, but it's not the Hutts.
What's the one from Shadow of the Empire?
Black Sun.
Black Sun. Yeah.
I think Black Sun might be a reference. It's been a while since it's 3 years.
Okay.
But I do know that like they have a whole thing lead up in that. And I was curious where this falls in the canon, which also makes sense because they probably would have had more to do with it had we gotten more film.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so they wrapped it up in Clone Wars instead, which I don't think that's cool. Yeah, but then it's also like, but what if people don't recognize iconic character Darth Maul? What could we do to make sure everyone knows this is Darth Maul?
I know. He has his signature double lightsaber that he flicks on.
Turn it on for emphasis. Just to show, it's like, remember, I could kill you with a lightsaber.
And takes off his hood, too.
Yeah,
so because
taking off the hood is fine. He also stands up so you can see his robot legs, so that no one can bitch about me.
Barely see his robot legs.
I don't know. I thought they were. I saw him really clearly watching it today. I was like, there's his robot legs.
You can see it, but I feel like if you didn't know, you might not notice it.
That's true. If not, I guess it's one of those things. Yeah, but he does stand up. Just I feel like, to be clear.
Yeah, that probably was.
But that felt like it should be a post-credit scene. The whole thing with him should be a post-credit scene.
Very gratuitous, in my opinion. I know that Darth Maul surviving was, canon and everything. I know it was established, but I'm like, when I saw it in the theater, I was like, oh, come on. Do we need to know this?
Yeah, and I honestly would have preferred if he had stayed dead after Phantom Menace, honestly. Right. Like, I don't know. I
disagree because I love where they go with him in the stories. But I do get where you're coming from. But I love the stuff that happens to him in Clone Wars and Rebels and all the extra stuff that he's involved in. So
yeah, it's also a very Marvel thing to do. To like, here's a villain that's we're setting up for the future, and not Marvel would be a post-credit scene, but it's the most Marvel thing in any of these Star Wars movies, and I don't like it.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, the Oreo never happen again.
I know, and it's funny.
I don't know. I mean, I assume he'll show up in flashbacks in Ahsoka.
Maybe
he does have stuff to do with Ahsoka in Clone Wars and her final conflict in the end of Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're going to see him. I think we're going to see Ray Park in Ahsoka. Maybe
a little bit, but I
mean, it'll have to be flashbacks, but
yeah, because he's dead in Rebels. I won't say what happens to him in Rebels, but they wrap up his story perfectly. They put a bow on it. They end it perfect in season 3 of Rebels. That's all I'm going to say. So I will not spoil that for anybody who hasn't seen it. I mean, it doesn't hurt when you know he's dead because he had to be dead. Like they couldn't keep him around by the time episode 4 and 5 come along. So
I will say IMDb does not show him in the cast of Ahsoka.
Okay, good. So. I hope they don't do that because I think Ahsoka's going to have enough freaking Sith in it and stuff. So we don't need. Plus, just put the character. He's been done. Put him away. We don't need to see him again in anything post Return of the Jedi, even in flashback. Like we don't need to see him again. Except if you want to make a Solo sequel, I'll take him back then. But that's not going to happen. And it's right before when Beckett leaves, when Beckett tells him like, hey, I'm going to a planet Tatooine. There's some gangster putting together a team.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. Again, there's your sequel. There's your sequel movie, your sequel heist movie, where he goes to Tatooine. They're putting together a team. Maybe he works with Boba Fett. Like, it could have been so awesome.
Yeah.
And not like they don't like Tamora Morrison, so it probably would have been Boba Fett in that movie. They love casting him and everything, so.
Yeah, he's in Ahsoka.
Oh, he is?
Well,
he is as Rex.
Fett. Yeah, as Rex, yeah.
That's fine. They're going to get a book of Boba Fett season 2, most likely, so hey, man, so get him work somewhere, huh?
Yeah. Gotta always keep him employed.
And that's about how the movie ends. He gives the coaxium to Enfy's nest, and then he goes off. Oh yeah. Then you have the last scene. I forgot.
Yeah,
he does win the Millennium Falcon back.
Fair and square. Yeah, he pickpockets the card from Lando.
But
I
know it's
pretty cool.
I know it's an Easter egg, but that whole thing where he goes and sees Lando, he does the same thing to Lando that Lando does to him in Empire Strikes Back. I don't care that it's the reference to that. I love it.
It's
what
okay,
is it?
but
What is the Empire Strikes Back reference?
Where he's like, I could kill you.
where
and
he's
he
like
hugs him.
pretending to be mad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that didn't bother me. That was fine. I mean, I liked that he used that to pickpocket the card off of him. I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's heavily. I feel like this movie's heavily implying that it's the last time they see each other, just because, like in Empire, what have you done to my ship and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It is
like
heavily
some guy I knew
it's the last
from
time they
me.
see each other.
Yeah.
But even if like you would have had more movies like we were supposed to, it still could work as long as they were close enough together. You put 6 years between it, like it still would work.
I always got the sense that they had like several years of history together. And it still could work, like we said, but
I think they were supposed to. I think like that was the idea that they were going for, is that there was going to be a trilogy of heist movies and where they interacted with each other.
Yeah, but then in that case, throw that scene at the end of the third movie. And I think that's the thing. It almost feels like they weren't confident that they were going to get a sequel, so they had to put everything we ever wanted to know about Han Solo plus a bunch of other stuff in this movie, which is why it's over 2 hours long.
Yeah. I think that hits it on the head right there.
Yeah, they probably didn't expect to make another movie.
Yeah, I mean they probably wanted to, but they hedged their bets too much.
Because this movie did not do good.
Yeah,
but I just remember so much drama before this movie came out. So many people like, oh, this movie's gonna be terrible.
Well, I mean, I really feel like a lot of it was fueled by the drama around Last Jedi.
Yeah. Last
Jedi is one of those movies where I'm like, I want to say that I like it just because I don't want to be lumped in with the people that hated it so virulently. But I don't.
I do remember when the trailer came out for Solo, A Star Wars Story, that the internet was very negative about it. Like, this looked dumb or whatever. It was kind
about the casting of Alden Aaron.
Yeah.
I think big time. It just didn't look the way people pictured a young Han Solo looking.
Exactly.
I mean, I thought he was fine in the role.
He does fine.
Yeah, I thought he did completely fine. But
it's hard to replace Harrison Ford for people in anything.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, we're making freaking, Dial of Destiny, Indiana Jones 5 with like Harrison Ford like in his like late 70s.
Oh, he's 80 now.
Oh, 80. Yeah, he's 80. Right. And so it's like we're just going to de-age him and then put a time travel plot in there to explain. And it's like I mean, I have an Indiana Jones tattoo, so I want this movie to be good, but
we had River Phoenix play young Indiana Jones, and we had whoever played him in the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. So we already have this discussion.
Yeah. God, I know the guy's name. He also plays Boondock Saints. and my wife met him and had him sign a poster, and he failed. Sean Patrick Flannery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because when she met him, he was high, and she had a poster of Boondock Saints, and he signed the wrong Boondock, and then gave her a story. Oh, yeah, me and Norman do this all the time. We always sign. If you go on eBay, you'll see it. She went on eBay, and nope, that's not what they do. So, yeah.
I will say that's a pro move on his part. He did the story.
It's hilarious. Someday, if Norman Reedus ever comes to a convention near us, she's going to meet him, have him sign it, and tell him the story and see what he says.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
But yes, Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah, I love the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. It's on Disney Plus now too.
That's right.
But yeah, my point is like people just don't want, I don't know, the recasting. Like no one's ever going to be happy when you recast an iconic character. And I don't know if there's a more iconic character in film to me than Han Solo.
He's definitely up there.
I mean, yeah, like a more iconic. Indiana Jones, yeah. Indiana Jones is my hero growing up, so I mean, but
it's just the thing that makes me most upset about this movie is that because this movie didn't make money, we now get Mark Hamill where much as I love Mark Hamill, it's like you could just recast somebody as Luke Skywalker and do, other stuff that happens after Return of the Jedi. Like, it's fine.
Or, hear me out, just don't have Luke Skywalker in your fucking story. don't.
Man, for that last season,
he didn't need to be in the freaking Mandalorian.
That is one of my best scenes I've ever seen in my life. My jaw dropped on that, so I disagree.
Me too. But it was fan service. It was one of those where in the moment I loved it, and then every time I think about it again, I'm like, But this was unnecessary. It didn't have to be Luke. It could have been Ahsoka.
I'd rather have Luke.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I do.
It upsets me that
I'm of two minds on
it. Doesn't want to recast now because of this movie. And again, like, it also upsets me. The Star Wars, the whole like Star Wars story thing, it just was dead in the water after this movie.
Yeah, and I love Rogue One, and it's like, the Rogue One is very flawed too, but I love it anyway. But yeah, we could have maybe had some more. But I don't know, we're getting some more Star Wars stories. I mean, James Mangold is directing a Star Wars, like, Origin of the Jedi movie. So
I think they're finally getting over what happened in 2018.
Yeah.
And
I think they rightfully decided we need to, like, put a pause on having, like, a Star Wars movie every, like, 12 months and let people,
that is
yeah. You can do it every 12 months. You can't release it.
Well, I don't think you should. That's my whole thing, is you shouldn't make movies a commodity like that. You should make it art. George Lucas had a story to tell. Let him tell his story. There you go. You got a story to tell. Tell your story. Instead of making it like, well, we got to put this up. We got to have a thing.
Kerry, you're forgetting the most important part. Money. Money. That's what it was.
It all comes down to, obviously, their business. So they have to. I do think scarcity is important, because if you had you're going to get tired of Star Wars. No matter how much you love it, you're going to get tired of it. So if you bring it scarce, people are going to be so excited for the next one if you have it in 2028 or whatever.
You need to put like 2 years between each Star Wars property, each Star Wars thing. I think that's enough time. Like, put a couple, like 2-3 years between each. Bring out movies every couple of years and keep it going. Like, I think that's perfect.
I mean, do a Star Wars, do a Marvel, do a Star Wars, do a Marvel, do it that way.
Well, then you could have if they did that, you'd get 3 Star Wars movies a year.
No, I mean, do one a year. That's what I mean.
I got kind of burned out on Marvel right now, but I still love them. But I'm a little burned out.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Wakanda Forever, and I started watching Ant-Man Quantumania with my son, and I was like, yeah, this is whatever.
I haven't seen Quantumania. It's on Disney Plus. I need to watch it.
It's fine. I guess it's no worse than Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I love Ant-Man and the Wasp, but so.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, I guess. I don't know. I guess I liked Ant-Man and the Wasp. I don't know. Anyway.
All right, any last things to say about Solo? Or should we go to Shelf Stacker Box?
I've been playing with a die-cast Millennium Falcon the whole time we've been talking. It was on my desk. Got a little die-cast Millennium Falcon. I've just been like, put it on it has one of those little finger stands. I put it on my finger and just kind of zoom it around while we've been talking.
That's perfect for this movie.
It's the Force Awakens one, though. It's got the rectangular radar dish.
You should have had the Solo one that has the escape pod on it.
They need to. Oh, yeah. I guess I should have that.
I wonder if
I've got a micro machine.
Oh, they definitely. Yeah, it's a micro machine one. It's a large. It's large. Well, it's the micro machine. Oh no, it's Hot Wheels, I think.
Okay, yeah, similar.
Yeah, same company.
It's big. It's like the size. It's almost the size of the palm of your hand.
And yes, there is a toy of the Solo Millennium Falcon. So.
Oh
yeah, there's many. I'm sure. Yeah. Sure, my son. Actually, I know for a fact my son had one at one point.
Oh. So I don't know. I was just curious. Because there had to be. So yeah, there is. All right, let's go on to Shelf Stacker Box. And Peter, what about you?
Put it in the box of all the Star Wars. It's an interesting Star Wars movie. It looks good. It's funny, but I probably won't revisit it too often, just because of I prefer the saga films.
Yeah,
but it has interesting bits in it. I can't say it's not I can't say it's a failure, but I can't say it's a success either. It's a very odd one, but I'm keeping it in the box for now.
Okay. And what about you, Kerry?
Yeah, box. I mean, I like it better than the prequels, and I like it better than the last 2 sequels, but still, yeah, I don't see myself rewatching it again anytime soon.
Man, I can't wait for us to talk the sequels. Can't wait. Okay. And I'll go last. I'm going to put this in the shelf. I still really like this movie. I watched it last night. I really liked it. I watched it again today. Really liked it. Like, I just this film is such a feel-good film for me, and I just enjoy it so much. Partly because it ends happy. It has a good feeling to it. It isn't sad. I have a problem with sad movies, which we're going to be talking about next. So yeah, that's why I really enjoyed it. It's just such a fun movie to watch, and I hate the fact that it gets so much hate from people that it did so bad, and I want my sequels now more and more. But yeah. And the next Star Wars movie you'll hear us talk about will be Rogue One, which I'm excited to revisit because I have not watched that in years, and my opinion was not high last time. So
yeah, I'm excited because I really love. I remember when I walked out of Rogue One, I turned to my friend and said, "Is this the new best Star Wars movie?" And then over time, I was like, no, it's like the 4th best Star Wars movie. It's still good though. But yeah, I'm excited.
It's really good. I'm really excited for that.
Same. It's something I've been needing to watch and cover. So you can stay tuned for that. And Kerry, where can people find you at?
Hey, so I'm Karuseta on Twitch and YouTube and Instagram occasionally, KEROOSETA. You can see me modify and repair video game consoles when it's not over 100 degrees in my workshop like it is right now, but more often watch me play video games.
All right. And Peter, where can people find you at?
I'm still on Twitter at PeterBP. If you'd like to read my science fiction novels, you should start with the first one, which is called The Fifth Civilization. You can find that for Kindle or physical copies on Amazon.com.
I want to say I've been really bad about reading, and I was like halfway through The Fifth Civilization and set it down a few months ago just because I fell off of reading, and I started reading again recently, and I'm kind of at like I can't put it down right now. I'm almost finished with it. I'm just like, it's got me where I'm like, I stayed up last night. I was like, I'm going to read for 10 minutes, and I read for like an hour. So I'm loving it. So
I need to finish it, but no, it honestly is really good, Peter.
It's really, really good.
That makes you really happy to hear. Yeah, at some point, if you ever want to try the sequels too, I guarantee you
I will.
They keep up the momentum. So thanks for telling me that.
Once I finally get around to finishing it, because I can't read in my house. So the only time I read is when I drive to Mankato to see my son. He plays on my phone, and I lay next to him and I read the book usually. So that's been my.
Not while you're driving though.
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
I don't have a car that can drive itself. I wish I did. Get someone's reading done. No. I have like weird. I just can't. I like when I go to. If I don't finish it, I'm going to Boston later this year. I will finish it in Boston because I read when I'm not home.
And I go on bouts of where I'm reading every single day, and then bouts where I just like don't read for a month or two. And
yeah,
fortunately, I'm back in the reading bout. So yeah, it's great.
When I lose power at work and I can't work, so I was like, well, I'll just sit outside and read until power comes back on. I can't do anything else in my house. So there's that time too. And then unfortunately, the power came right back on. I'm like, oh, okay. I read a few pages. All right. And if you want to hear more Star Wars episodes, we've been going through all the movies. You can find all of that on Podbean. Just type in Star Wars. You'll see all sorts of episodes that come up, a bunch of things that we've been covering. We've been doing Star Wars all year. So definitely go check out our catalog. And to support the show, we do a Patreon for Little Dollar. You vote in our Patreon polls. You'll see a link in the show notes. We have polls every month. And you want to chat with us, we do have a Discord. Please join our Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes for that too. You also see a link in the show notes for both things that were just mentioned. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasphere. You can follow her on TikTok. And give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, started his own podcast, The Gamer Looks at 4. You definitely check him out also. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Later.